Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Our topic for today is how to build a profitable business. Actually, we're going to cover two very important aspects of building a profitable business. One is understanding what's going on around you and how that affects your business opportunity. So, we're going to cover movements and trends. And the second topic is going to be on brands and the importance of brands to building a successful enterprise. You're going to have two speakers today, myself, Kevin Cohee, and Calvin Motter, who's an expert at building profitable businesses, understanding brands, and understanding the implications of movement. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I was born into the social justice movement to protect Black American. I have a family where I have close to 10 uncles and cousins who were in various organizations that were supporting Black power. I went on from that background, in which I should say the most significant thing that I got out of that background, and I can still remember when I was 4 years old, and I was at a Black Panther meeting, and I was told by one of the Panthers that, hey, Kev, man, look, we got enough brothers out here on the streets, fighting these battles on the streets. We need some brothers to get control of some institutions because this is a capitalistic society. And in order to wield power in a capitalistic society, we got to control some institutions. You need to do something like get control of a bank, man. And so my journey since I was 4 years old was based on that guidance to do something like get control of an institution, specifically a bank, to ensure that Black Americans had the organizational strength and resources to be able to protect themselves in our society. I went on from that and was fortunate enough to be a very good athlete. I played football at the University of Wisconsin. I got an undergraduate degree at the University of Wisconsin. I also ended up with an MBA from the University of Wisconsin, even though I did 1 year at Harvard Business School, 1 year at the University of Wisconsin. I ended up with the MBA. I also have a law degree from Harvard University, so I'm a JD MBA. After I left school, I went to work on Wall Street at Salomon Brothers, where I learned how to do these things that were called leveraged buyouts at the time. That was an important trend that I was able to take advantage of, and was lucky enough to buy a company, build it, and frankly, to become wealthy at a very young age, which gave me the opportunity to fulfill my lifelong dream of building institutions, specifically a bank, that could garner the political, social, and economic resources of Black America and rechannel them back into our community in a way that would both protect us and create opportunities. And this conference you're in is an example of the activism of One United Bank. One of the things that's unique about One United Bank is it's a Black-owned company that has a brand that's known from coast to coast. We literally have customers all across the country. And because of that brand, we believe that makes the company literally worth $1 billion. That's the importance of brand. It allows you to sell product and services in amounts that are greater than you would by using other resources. Your name sells the product. That just a brief background on who we are. We are the largest Black-owned bank in the country. We're going to start with you, Calvin. I want you to give us a little bit about your background and about some of the business activity that you engaged in. What's really interesting about Calvin is he's such a young man to have accomplished so much in life.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that introduction. Yeah, a little bit about me. I come from a military family, military background. I was born in Germany, oldest of 5 children. I'm the grandson of a Montford Point Marine. So, I look at my history and I see even in my bloodline, my direct descendant experience racism in this, past 50, 60 years, right, in this past lifetime. And so I take that and knowing where I come from, that's kind of what birthed everything last year with the Blackout Coalition. I saw Ahmaud Arbery. I saw the video. It sparked a vision. It sparked a fire, culminated over the years. And so I took all that experience and information and knowledge and things I've been researching, and I took action. I did the only thing that I could do is use my voice. And I made a video, and from there, everything blew up. It's been an interesting journey. I've learned a lot. I've met a lot of people, but it's definitely given me a crash course in building a brand and a business in the digital age.
The big deal about what Calvin accomplished is he gained 1.8 million followers who were dedicated to using their economic resources to create social justice for Black America. He created a group that was in the top 20 on Facebook in terms of audience. So it really shows the power of small groups of people, the power of one to affect society today. That's one of the things that creates the opportunity for many things, opportunities for you as an entrepreneur, but also the opportunity for social justice for Indigenous people and Black Americans. So, Calvin, as we move into this discussion on understanding the importance of movements and brands, talk briefly about how the movement affected you and how you created a brand as a result of the movement.
So I think what it really was more than anything is timing. I think timing is always a key factor, no matter what the business, no matter what the product. You know, me starting the group at the time that I did, and it's unfortunate that it has to be trauma. Sometimes it seems like jump starts our community, but me starting the group as I did when I saw the Ahmaud Arbery, just in divine timing, meant that when George Floyd happened, the movement was already going. The brand, the name, it was already recognizable. And somewhere along in there, shortly after that, then One United, you partnering and helping get the message, and then other people, then what happens is the brand, and it began to take a life of its own. Celebrities started sharing it who didn't even probably know the origin or what have you. So I think, as you said earlier, that strategic name that draws people in to pull them into action, and coupled with the timing, it just allowed us to be able to tap into the spirit of the age right now.
So that's the power of what we're talking about. Calvin was able to create a group of people, 1.8 million people, who were following him and interested in taking actions as a result of his brand. That's the power of the opportunity that we have today. Okay, so let's talk about movements. And it's one of the most important parts of understanding the challenge and the opportunity we face today is understanding the movement that we've experienced within the last year. That movement could be called the anti-racism movement. And we all saw what was happening on television. And the things to note about this movement is it's not just a movement of Black people, but it's a movement of a broad base of Americans that are tired of racism and the implications of racism on our society. And so they banded together and created an organization that's capable of change. Now, what's unique about the organization is it fulfills a long-held dream of Black American leaders, which is to organize Black America and its allies so that we could affect change in our society. Our leaders, from W.E.B. Du Bois to Martin Luther King, they all understood we needed to be organized, but the tools weren't available. The tools just became available as a result of the internet and the things that accompany the internet, like the cell phone, for us to really be organized and what I call mechanized to create change. What's different about today is because of the internet, because Black America and its allies are organized, we are able to affect change in society. That's the power of the internet. That's the power of social media. And that's what caused these criminals to be brought to justice. It's literally the business opportunity of a lifetime. This is bigger than things like the gold rush in terms of the opportunity it creates for Black America and its allies to economically integrate into society. So that's one important movement to understand and how it affects opportunity. It allowed for the creation of things like the Bank Black movement, which was started by One United Bank, things like the Blackout Coalition, which was started by Calvin. Those things are an outgrowth of a broader movement in society called the anti-racism movement. So that's a big part of where we are today. The second big thing that happened is the pandemic. The pandemic was a beast, particularly for Black Americans. Our employment rate shot up. We lost over 50% of our businesses. But at the same time, it created a set of opportunities. It accelerated movements and trends that were already in place. I'll give you an example. The movement toward a cashless society. As a result of the pandemic, you start to ask yourself the question, what am I walking around with these dirty pieces of paper we call bills in my pocket to buy goods or services? But it's inefficient, and because what we all learn more of is you can't stick money into a computer. So this broader trend toward a cashless society was exacerbated by the pandemic, creating a whole nother set of opportunities. So Calvin, tell us a little bit about how the social justice movement affected your brand.
You know, in many ways, the social justice movement, kind of created it, birthed it. It was the energy behind it. But I know, number one, the first thing that stands out is that it gave us massive social equity, right? And a lot of people don't necessarily know that term or even know how to use it if they have it. But having social equity just means that people are paying you every day with their attention. They actually, there's many people that just follow trends on TikTok, trends on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, simply because it's done by somebody who has a particular following. And so they just go with it. It gives you a voice, it gives you a platform. And then it's just a matter at that point, what are you going to do with it? So for me, it's allowed us to be able to have conversations, even with, like, right now we're talking, I wouldn't even be right here right now speaking with you if it were not for the movement. I would not have met with senators and man, all kinds of people. Like, I'm not that type of person, but I recognize that the opportunities and resources and relationships that have come over the past year that I did not have prior to was birthed from this, but also it put me on a path to saying, okay, what's the next step now? Now that we have this social equity, now that we have this visibility, not only as a movement, a social community, a company, as formulating as an actual company, the Blackout Coalition, what's the next step? And that led me to establishing an actual lobbying arm, right? We have I Am We Global, which is, we actually now have a 501c4 social welfare organization. So, but it wouldn't, if not for the Blackout Coalition, that would have never birthed into I Am We, because it was the evolution, the culmination of what was already going on. So now we have the actual, if you will, lobbying arm, which would be the Blackout Coalition, that social injustice consequence movement, right? Being able to actually economic protest, boots on the ground. And then now we have, as you said it to me before, we've armed ourselves now with an actual entity that we can move weight in the political scene.
As a result of the movement, which is one thing, the anti-racism movement, and as a result of a trend toward cashless society, which was exasperated by the pandemic, for One United Bank, that meant that we grew our customer base at over 150%. We have positioned the company to participate in the movement and to participate in a trend that was ongoing. So that allowed us to to take advantage of the opportunity that the moment presented and not to be run over by the moment. Okay, we're going to move on to another important part of building a profitable business. That's understanding the concept of a brand. What makes brands interesting is they're intangible. They actually are not a physical person, place, or thing. They're a business concept or idea that allows people to identify you as a company easily. That drives down the cost of you attaining new customers and getting your existing customers to engage in repeat sales, which is a big part of the key of building a successful enterprise. So you want to focus on brand. We all have a brand. It's really a question of how big is your brand, how many people know your brand, and how many people are attracted to brands. The brand concept is easy to understand within the context of larger businesses. A business, for example, Coca-Cola. That's over 50% of the value of that company is in that name, Coca-Cola. And so it's not about the fact that they make this dark, syrupy drink and how it tastes or their ability to deliver these bottles of soda across America. More so than anything else, what drives the value of the company is that name, that brand. So as part of this conversation, Calvin, why don't we start with you? Why don't you talk a little bit about brand and the importance of brand in your experience?
So one of the first things that, we faced with the Blackout Coalition was the need to turn the brand into an actual business. So, something as simple as selling shirts, right? When we first were going, obviously people were like, we want shirts. Is there shirts? Is there this? Is there merch? And then at that point, it's like, okay, well, I need to quickly, which I'm used to doing this over the years of, go get the EIN, the logo, whatever, all the necessary steps. But we had to quickly make sure we took the steps to form an LLC because I wasn't about to, sell these shirts and that money be going into my personal account. So now we have a good problem. We have all of this attention, which is kind of the reverse, right? Most times people start a business first, and then the work is building the brand recognizable. But we had a brand recognizable, but no business on the back end officially. So that's one part, and that's a unique problem. Not most people, again, don't already have a recognizable brand before they start a business. But if you do, it makes things a bit easier.
Calvin raises an important part. He talks about the distinction between having a brand and building a business. Those are two distinct things. And as you're going on your journey to build a profitable business, it's important to do both well. Well, making your brand distinctive, once again, we want to use our companies and our experiences to explain the concept of the kinds of things that one could do to make a brand distinctive. For One United Bank, it's our primary product, which is our debit card that distinguishes the bank from other banks. And frankly, it's because our cards just look better and they have much more swag. That's just the bottom line of how we do this. All of our cards are original artwork. We've commissioned an artist. We have our own artist, if you will. He doesn't belong to us, but we're big patrons of Adonis Parker, who's an internationally acclaimed artist who does the arts for all our cards. And the reason for that is the cards have a specific feel tone and have specific stories behind them that accentuate the brand of the company. So you can see the types of cards that we issue and the look and feel tone and how they all fit into the issue of social empowerment of Black Americans and other indigenous people and dealing with the challenges we face in society. example of how to build brand using your products and services are our Harriet Tubman card. That Harriet Tubman card, like all our cards, are actually from an original painting that we commissioned. And what's interesting about it is if you look at at what Harriet Tubman is doing with her hands in the card, is actually the sign language symbol for peace and love, which is what Harriet Tubman meant to us. We thought she was the ultimate symbol of Black love, being willing to, after you're free, to go back into areas where people are slaves to free more people from being slaves. That to us was the ultimate symbol of love. However, we used the card in a different way. Several years after we did the painting, a movie came out called Black Panther, in which the same symbol, the sign language symbol, was used for something called the Wakanda salute. Now, we knew people were going to confuse the two things, but that was a marketing technique by us to draw attention to our brand, and more importantly, to draw attention to the social issue, which was very important to us, of Harriet Tubman being on the $20 bill. As you know, a people's currency, a country's currency, is reflective of their culture and their historic achievements. But yet we sit here with Black Americans having built this country, having contributed at least as much as anyone else to the building of this country, but yet we're not represented on any currency. That was significant to One United Bank. So the way we drew attention to the issue was by issuing this card, which we knew would create a firestorm of interest on Twitter, as people would be confused about what we were doing, which is what our intention was. This thing worked out really well, and this card ended up on things like Saturday Night Live. It ended up on TMZ. It ended up on all kind of mainstream media where you don't ordinarily see financial products such as cards, where people were debating the merits of what we had did. Now, the effectiveness of what we did is, if you remember about a year ago when we started doing this, it's maybe about 2 years ago now, the administration had decided it was not going to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. We engaged in our activity. Well, guess what? One of the first things that the Biden administration did since it's been in office is to talk about putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. Now, did One United Bank cause the United States government to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill? That would probably be an overstatement. But did we have an effect on their thinking? Absolutely. Because we had tens of millions of people talking about the issue of Harriet Tubman. Now, that's an example of building brand, creating a distinctive product, presenting the product in a unique way, which affects large numbers of people, which draws interest and affiliation with your brand in a positive way. So on that note, Calvin, why don't you talk a little bit about brand to us, and what kind of distinctive features that you think can be used to build brand, and give us maybe some examples from your own personal experience or things that you see going on in society today.
Yeah, so you made a lot of good points. I'm gonna have to watch this back later and take some good notes. But what comes to mind for me, what makes a brand distinctive, is three things: the person, the people, and the product. So when I say the person, like if I use myself as an example, for the Blackout Coalition, I'm the person that presented this particular message about Blackout Day 2020 and the Blackout Coalition in general. And then the people is, how does that message or how does that person and the message they're giving resonate with the people? And then based on the response of the people to the person and the message, then you have a product then that can be given to those people. Again, in our particular situation, our product is hope. Our product is justice, is righting the wrongs of inequality in society. If you're listening to me out there, it's really this simple. It's if you aren't the person, right? If you feel like I am not the person who is best suited to be the evangelist for my company, our message, etc., then find something. Create a mascot. Create something that represents your brand, communicates what your brand is about, and see if it resonates with the people. So yeah, all of these are examples of different companies, corporate entities, if you will, that have utilized this methodology. So I'm curious to know, Mr. Kevin, what tools did you use to build One United Bank?
Well, being a corporation, and I think this is the contrast between how your organization and our organization fit into the digital age shows the range of opportunities for companies to be effective. One United Bank, being a financial institution, used a more formalized approach. So we started with a mission, a purpose for being, so that we could start to build our followers who were interested in the mission. So for us, it was extending the civil rights movement by the utilization of technology. We understood that the civil rights movement, or social justice movement as it's called today, was going to be much more expansive and much more effective. We see the world as changing, and the long legacy of systemic racism in this country breaking down once again as the result of Black America and its allies being organized and mechanized by the internet. So the first thing we did in building the company was to give ourselves a mission, to fit into a movement through which we could build our brand. The second piece of it was the things we talked about, understanding the trends that were affecting the business so that we could develop products and services that people would want. Here again, when you're selling products and services, you have to think beyond just the mission, just the doing good part, but you actually have to have products and services that people need, and understanding trends is the way to identify those products and services. In our case, it was the movement toward a cashless society. So we are a first mover towards creating products that modern day people use for financial services. So for example, our online banking product itself and our application are state of the art, because we know as quiet as it's kept, Black Americans are very tech savvy. They want to receive money through working jobs like Uber or Lyft. They want to share money with their friends using applications like Cash App, Venmo, etc. They want innovative products like 2-day early pay. And so we sought to be an example of Black excellence, to create the products and services that people are using now, to have products not equal to much larger institutions like Bank of America, Chase, etc., but products that were better. And so that was a big part of it. So understanding the movement to give us a purpose, following a trend, and then we use more formalized tools for building the brand. We utilize data as well as any company utilize data. So we listen on the internet. So we're able to see what people are chatting about on the internet. And if they talk about, if a term comes up such as Black Bank, we're one of those companies that will then be sending you an ad immediately based on the interest that you've shown in what we do. So we understand how to identify audiences. We don't think about Black Americans as just being Black Americans. There are many subgroups in there. There are those who like Marvin Gaye. There are those who went to Black colleges, there are different age groups. And so we understand how to use audience, how to use social media tools like Facebook, Twitter, the Gram, to market products and services to those audiences. So we use very formalized, widespread techniques to reach target audiences, to sell them products and services that they need and are going to continue to need in accordance with the trend, and then having a mission and goal that binds them to the organization. It's all about the improvement of Black America, whether it's things like this, which are designed to reduce the racial wealth gap, or things like our solidarity program, which is designed to promote anti-racism in broader society. So it's a more formalized approach. The formal tactic is called creative vandalism. And Calvin, I want you to talk about the creative vandalism because I think people like yourself are very good at the utilization of the marketing concept of creative vandalism, even if you might not call it that. Maybe you can talk about what that concept brings to mind in your approach.
Yeah, so you mentioned that term creative vandalism earlier, and it really stuck out to me. I made sure I wrote that down because I started thinking to myself, that's a really grassroots concept that I feel like we already employ, or I already employ and have over the years. Like you said, whereas at a corporate level, it's more about the analytics, right? And Google Console and different tools. We don't want to give all the secrets away, but there's a lot of different things out there where you can use data. It's kind of like the NBA, how the NBA has evolved. It used to be, more about just the game itself, right? And it was more of a rugged game. And, you go in there in the paint and the big men beat you up. And now it's more about analytics and resting players and all of that. So with marketing and building a brand, same thing. Like you can take the corporate approach, or like me, I have not, since the first video I posted May 7th, 2020, I have not paid for one ad for anything. I don't even have on my personal Facebook page more than 1,500 friends. So this entire thing, literally, matter of fact, at the time of creating the group, I didn't even have my actual Calvin Martyr page had got deleted by accident. So if you go look at my page, I didn't create my actual page until the 18th of May. So this is purely the power of word of mouth. I feel like the tool I tapped into was really a culmination of my experiences over the years. I've been a traveling musician playing shows since 2008. I'm an entrepreneur, and I even have a lot of real world experiences in the sales industry, selling all kinds of products, selling cars very successfully. So what I recognize is the power of being able to connect with people in an organic way, right? Like that, you're not going to get somebody to go from just seeing you post your mixtape online to them actually going and downloading it, listening to it, sharing it, buying your t-shirt, showing up to a show, if in some way, shape, form, or fashion, they have not connected with you as an individual. And so I understand that power of that connection with the people, right? And the power of just literally grabbing the camera, turning it on, and being as authentic, 100% authentic as possible, and sharing from your heart. And Simon Sinek says it like this: communicate from your core, from your place of belief, and you will attract those who believe what you believe. And I feel like I'm a prime example of that happening with the Blackout Coalition.
That's right. So let's talk a little bit more specifically about the tools that you use to build your brand. So talk to us a little bit about we have the contrasting approach. We have the large corporation approach, and we have the grassroots approach. And I think that covers the range of experience that people need to understand how to take advantage of this opportunity in the digital age. So talk to me a little bit about some of the tools you use.
So one of the tools is God-given, right? Just intuition. literally, I when I talk to people, I call it the unction. Like there's this feeling I get deep in my belly. Like literally, even when I go live, that's why I'm not just always sporadically going live daily, because I don't necessarily always feel that unction, where it's a necessary thing. I need to go live, and I think people fall into that pit a lot, where they feel the pressure of social media and things of that nature, and they just aimlessly create content, right? We want to be strategic. We want to be a sniper with that. So number one, intuition. But after that, there's an old saying, use the rock you got. And so for me, live video, that's I've used it for years. I understand it. I'm comfortable being on camera. And so that's what I used. But it's not just going live. Intentionally and strategically, I went live every single day from May 7th all the way up to Blackout Day. So 60 days straight of going live and talking about the same thing over and over and over. Now, obviously, you have to have multiple different things to talk about if you're talking about the same subject matter, which a lot of people cannot do. And then thirdly, actually creating a mobilized and engaging community that's still engaging to this day. It's crazy. Over a year removed from the original Blackout Day 2020, we still have 1.8 million people in our group, right? And it's still over 1.2 million people each week that are still active in the group, which is very rare, And so all of those tools allow there to be, it's really amazing to see the engagement on just on a post or a video. The people is the power. They're the ones that make it be of value, because their ability and willingness to engage and conversate. That's strategic, obviously, right? It's the conversations we're having, but it's the conversations we're having that they are interested in, and more so than that, willing to then share it on their own volition. Right? That original Blackout Day 2020 video was shared over 4,000 times.
But the beauty of it is I learned so much from your comments, the concept of using live video, and that's something that we don't do. We do it, but we don't do it as effectively as we could do it. But don't you also use Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, Discord, those kind of sites to promote?
Well, definitely. So, like with the group, like you said, that's a great point there. With our group, that third point, it was that engaging community, and like you said, examples of other communities, right? Like where Reddit, like examples of communities mobilizing to get change, rather, right? Reddit was they were able to make a huge push, and we saw GameStop and AMC. That was a phenomenon because of a actual social group. You see on TikTok certain movements and trends happen from a social group, Instagram, all of these different things. But you see where people create pockets of their own following and community. Even right now, great example, somebody who I follow, Gary Vee, he's a huge marketer and stuff. He just launched a thing. NFTs is a huge thing, right? And he created this whole community around NFTs, and he's engaging his own following behind a movement that he likes. But one that is more prevalent to our fight, right, for social justice, we just recently saw the Asian American and Pacific Islanders legislation get passed directly from social movement, literally from people facing an issue in society, taking to social media, a hashtag campaign, and that culminated in legislation. And I think this overall captures the spirit of movements like the Montgomery bus boycott, like the civil rights movement in and of itself.
Yes. And what we're trying to demonstrate is the broad range of techniques that one could do to build brand over the internet. And we're talking about it a lot within the context of the social justice movement, but these are the same techniques you use to sell products and services. For One United Bank, it's a more formal process. We have a social media marketing team, which every day is posting about current social issues that affect Black America. We also do use public relation techniques to get to be on television, programs, to be on radio programs, which so public relations is a big part of what we do. So we've been able to be on all forms of media, from things like Forbes and Fortune to the Wall Street Journal to more local Black oriented media. Those are the techniques that one can use to build brand. We also get influencers to carry our cars. They carry our cars just because they look good and they want to be a part of helping Black America to grow and develop. So we're able to attract influencers, often with no cost to the organization. So what you see with Calvin and Kevin, the One United Bank and the Blackout Coalition, the range of tools and techniques that one can use to build brand, from informal techniques. Here again, we talked about creative vandalism on both a grassroots level and a corporate level. We talked about the utilization of public relations. We talked about the use of organization apps that allow you to form groups and communicate to groups. Those are the tools you need to build your brand. Okay, Calvin, let's hit on this issue of how do you maintain brand loyalty. We understand now the importance of brand. It allows you to attract customers more cheap, and it allows you to get your existing customers to engage in repeat purchases, which is a key part of profitability. Let's talk about some of the things that make a consumer loyal to your brand.
The first thing off top, and these kind of go hand in hand, are maybe one of the same thing, but customer service and communication. Just the experience, not only whether they're coming into your physical store to buy some clothes, or your restaurant to sit down and have a meal, or even virtually. Most people, their experience right now is e-commerce, right? Whatever the context, when people buy a product from you, a service from you, they're expecting a certain level of treatment, right? They want to be handled with care. And this is honestly, if you're talking about building your business, your brand, this is the number one thing, because one person will come and have a good experience and they may tell one or two friends, but you can guarantee if someone has a bad experience with your business, they're going to go tell 5, 10, 15, anybody who will listen about how they feel about the Blackout Coalition or how they feel about One United Bank. They're going to tell. So this is huge. And a lot of times, the reason why I say customer service and communication, a lot of times the issue, I've experienced a lot of different scenarios. Even last year, prime example, there was a shortage with shirts because of COVID. And so a lot of the shirts that we were sending out last year, the fulfiller that we had, there was a delay. So obviously we had to be on the front end of that, of explaining. So all of these things are very important, right? Because again, people will tell more people about their bad experience than they will their good experience. So just a little bit of communication goes a long way in dealing with these issues, right? And honestly, it's only 1% to 2% of your whole thing, but that 1% to 2% of individuals who had a bad experience can derail everything. So customer service and communication, to me, that's top of the list.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And for us, we think it's important to continue to innovate, to really offer the consumer high quality creative products that meet their needs. For example, we had a number of customers that, well, the way I phrase it, that live on a 14-day cash cycle. In other words, they live from paycheck to paycheck, and they have to be very conscious of how they use their money. So we added a feature called 2-day early pay, which allows a person to get their paycheck 2 days early. So it's the difference between getting your paycheck on Wednesday and getting your paycheck on Friday. And for lots of people, that's a big deal. And it's the kind of thing that makes them loyal to you because you're helping them to fulfill their life needs. So we have to build companies that continue to evolve, that continue to become better over time. Another thing we did is we engaged the customers and to get them to become part of your company, to give them ways, for example, that they can make money by selling your products. Referral services are a big deal, and people are always interested in new ways to make money. And if you can make them part of your mission and to financially benefit, or in our case, not only did we provide money, but as you can see, here's the examples of the innovative kind of awards and gifts that we offer to our customers for both utilizing the product as well as bringing in new consumers. So these types of activity are what allow you to grow with your customer. But as Black Americans, see, one of the things that we've always had that we need to bring more to the world of business is swag. We are cultural leaders worldwide. It's our ability to affect social trends and drives customers that makes us unique as a people. For example, our solidarity card. This is our latest card. And what I'll say to you, if you can find a flyer card than our card, get it. Just straight up on the looks, the style, the creativity of the thing. It's an example of the kind of things you can do. And we'll put our card up against anybody on services or how it looks. And so it's these types of things that we have to continue to do as a people. We have to bring the same things that we bring to music, the same thing we bring to sports, the same things that we bring to fashion. We have to bring all those things to business. And one of the things that I got to tell you, Calvin, what's really exciting about talking to you, that there's a lyric in a song. It says, "We don't need no guitar or no fancy clothes." And the point of it is, look, you make do with what you have. Start where you start. Put it where the goats can get it, to use another old country saying. And again, you'll be able to attract people. You'll be able to attract a following, and that's all these words are about. Is the fancy words to talk about the importance of building a following. And so that's the kinds of things that are very important to building customer loyalty. And as Calvin said, customer service is a big deal. I know at One United Bank, we just added artificial intelligence to our customer service department because that's how important customer service is. And we have to start to utilize, we have to evolve in techniques like artificial intelligence. That artificial intelligence is going to be a key driver of future business opportunities. And we need to understand it. And number one, don't be mystified by it. It's not that big a deal. It's not all that complicated. It's just getting computers to do things that people would have done otherwise. And we have to participate. We have to make artificial intelligence a part of our companies, the way we sell products, the way we identify customers. And that's the new wave of where business is going. It's part of the new wave of where business is going, and we have to be effective participants. Okay, we're moving on to one of the most important lessons that we hope to be able to convey to you today. It's central to building any business in the digital age. We entitled it, "Do You Own You?" And what that's about is understanding the importance of digital real estate and making sure that you have ownership of your digital real estate so you can effectively build your business. If you don't own your digital real estate, it's like not owning your house. It's not yours, and you shouldn't build on real estate that you don't own. So Calvin, why don't you elaborate a little bit on the importance of the whole concept of controlling your domain and controlling your trademarks?
Yes, I love this topic. To answer your question, yes, I own me. Well, I'll say technically, I actually operate in trust, so all my assets and things are in my trust name. But technically I'm the trustee of my trust, right? But when you talk about digitally, yes, I own calvinmartyr.com and all the different little sub ones of that, .net, whatever. YKOG Media, which was one of my media companies I've had for the last 5 or 6 years. Favor Man Global, of course, the Blackout Coalition. I Am We Global, which is our nonprofit now. Shameless plug to my wife, Jade Natural Essentials. I help her with the operations on things of that nature. And of course, I have martyrsmastermind.com, which is like my podcast. And I have an online university, Mastermind University. And all of these things have their own URL, their own EIN number, their own logo. But all of these things, right, I had to first take the time to research the name. Right, that's where it starts. Is this name something I can use? I actually learned that the hard way. Actually, before I had YKOG Media, I had a company name of Salt Society, Salt Life Media. Actually, I named it Salt Life Media, and I didn't do my necessary research, and I ended up getting a cease and desist letter. There's a company based out of Florida that's a surfboard company called Salt Life. Well, because of so I ended up having this whole momentum I had built. Thankfully, it hadn't been, too far into it, maybe, 5-10 years. And now you built this whole empire. But the name is important. Once you find out the name, then you need to quickly get an EIN number, with that name. I got a graphics guy I've been working with for 12 years. I got Paul Santos on the line. Like, if I need anything, he already knows. I've paid him for graphics over the years that I still haven't even used yet, but it was because it was an idea. And the digital real estate, without going too deep, because I know we're going to talk about it, but there's no more URLs. Like, once the name is used, you can't use it anymore. And I know people think of the internet as this infinite, never-ending space, but eventually there will be no more combinations of words you can use for particular ideas, right? I mean, it'll keep going. The world will keep evolving some way, somehow. But as we talked about, as the world goes digital, you need to be digital. You need to have a digital location, which we call digital real estate, which can bring you digital residual, right? And if we use that term real estate, for years, for centuries, physical real estate was the number one wealth building tool. The future, the number one wealth building tool will be digital real estate. It's literally, think of yourself as having like a red door property, free and clear. It's paid off. All you got to do is worry about the taxes. That's how an online website is. All you got to worry about is that monthly fee to keep that hosting up, right? Whatever that fee is, you might be paying it annually. And now you got a paid off website where if you drive traffic, renters to your location who pay you to be on your space, right, or are buying a product from you, now you can make money in your sleep and then do that 10, 20, 30, 40 times, and now you'll be a millionaire, right? It's building an online presence that can bring you digital residual, and we'll talk about how that leads to generational wealth, because these are assets now. We're creating digital assets. I don't know. This is so dear to me. Like this whole concept of having an online representation of your business. If nobody knows you or knows about you, you do not exist. Unfortunately, it's a lot of business owners that don't get this. They're stuck in the analog. They're stuck in the old way, and you have to evolve and get into the stream of where everybody is, because 90% of all internet traffic, 90% is on a mobile phone. And over 80% of the whole global population, they're on social media. They're looking. And now with the pandemic, they want to buy. They are literally sitting around, nothing to do but consume content and spend money and get it delivered to their home. You need to have digital real estate.
As we bring it into this session, I want you to talk about the importance of digital real estate in a digital age.
Digital real estate is so vital to this whole building of generational wealth. And I know on one hand, for me as a father, I understand everything that I'm building right now in the way I'm training and teaching my children. I'm not training them to work jobs. I'm already talking to my son. My oldest is 13, and I'm already talking to him about my goal is to have him be a millionaire by 21, and he has the opportunity to do that. Whereas when I was 13, the internet was in its infancy. I'm glad you said about how the internet is young, right? I like to tell people I'm literally the age of the internet, right? In 1987, the military created the intranet, and then in '89, CERN gave us the internet in 1989, and that's the same year we got the cell phone and the Berlin Wall came down. So literally, the last I'll be 32 in July. The last 32 years, like think how short that is. We went from inception of internet to now where we have the internet. In the last recent 5 or 6 years, phenomenons like retail investing have been able to happen because of the internet. So something that powerful, if you have no representation in the marketplace, if something that powerful and revolutionary in one lifetime, literally, then you're not serious about your business and you're not serious about building something that you can pass on. Because truth be told, you and your children and your children's children are going to work to build someone's brand. They will build somebody's empire. Will it be an empire that has your last name attached to it and a brand that you've built? Or will they be working for someone else? It's plain, and it's not to say that that's necessarily a bad thing. It's an inevitability. That's the point. And we're saying if you're here right now and you're at this conference and you're listening to this segment, you clearly have some desire to build generational wealth, to be an entrepreneur, to be a business owner. And so it has to start with a mindset first yourself, of why am I building this? Who am I building this for? And then communicating that to those individuals so they understand, so that they can be groomed building for.
That's right. That's right. And I want to conclude. We're talking about the digital age, and what that's about is it's about new ways of communicating. That's all the digital age is about. We develop different ways of communicating faster, things other than voice and other than person to person communication. We have machines that can in fact communicate with each other. And in that environment where machines are communicating with each other, that is where we have to thrive, where we have to create our new businesses and our new social movements is in this age of machine-based communication. And so we talked about some of the important tools for being effective in the digital age. We talked about how to build a profitable business, how to look and understand things like movements and the opportunities that are created by movements. We focused on the social justice, anti-racism movement that's taken hold and the great opportunity that creates for new businesses. We talked about the importance of understanding trends, things like the movement toward a cashless society. And there are many trends that exist, and the importance of building your business in a way where it takes advantage of trends, where you're operating and understanding movements. Then we went on to the importance of brand and understanding how to build brand. And we talked about brand from two different perspectives. We talked about the importance of grassroots ways of building brands, and we talked about corporate ways of building brands. Neither is better than the other. Both can be very successful. That's the wonderfulness of the digital age, is that you need many less resources than you've ever needed before in order to be successful in society. You have the ability to target groups of people who are interested in your products and services cheaply, and therein lies the opportunity for growth and development for us as a people. And it also provides the foundation for us to continue to not just survive in American society, but thrive, because now we're organized. Now we're mechanized. We have the tools to introduce and control social change. So in many ways, despite the pandemic and the challenges that it's caused, and there have been many, it's a complete disaster. But like so many difficult things that we've had to face as a people, we shall overcome. We shall take advantage of this opportunity. We shall take advantage of the challenges that life has brought us, and we will succeed as a people. So thank you very much. One United Bank appreciates your time and attention, and we continue to be here for you because you're here for us. Thank you.